Hey everybody, Isaiah Colton here, and welcome to another episode of Renegade TV, where today we're going to be talking about time management secrets of millionaire real estate professionals, and pretty much this goes for any entrepreneur on the planet, but we're going to do it from a very different way than you've ever heard time management talked about. We're going to be talking about the anti-schedule. If this sounds weird to you, where you're like, wait a second, I thought time management, time blocking is important. Well, it is important, but the way that most people go about doing it is the reason why they're struggling to get everything done and why they're not productive, meanwhile, while other teams are crushing it. And then the way that I want you to think about this before we dive into the actual content is that everyone has the same 24 hours in the day, but if one person is able to maximize their productivity and be a whole lot further than their competition, you have to ask yourself why. And that's what we're going to cover, along with some really powerful AI tools to help you be more productive with the time that you have, so make sure you stay to the end. Hi, my name is Isaiah Colton. I'm excited to share this content with you because this has changed my life personally. I can't wait to dive into it. And if this is your first time seeing a video of mine, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like it, and I appreciate if you shared it to your colleagues or whoever maybe that can benefit from this topic. All right. So a little bit of backstory on time management, and one of the biggest mistakes that I made for several years before I became an entrepreneur, and then once I changed this, I believe it was a huge catalyst for me becoming a millionaire literally like 2 years later from the time that I changed this, and that's called the anti-schedule. You see, most people when they go to do their time blocks, they think about all of the things that they can schedule. So let's say if you're a real estate agent, you're thinking through your whole day. And what you're probably doing, you're coming up with a massive to-do list, and you're trying to fit that to-do list in less hours than you have to work, and it probably gets somewhat frustrating, right? Well, that is better than not doing anything because you'll still be somewhat productive. But because time is really the most important commodity that we have to make sure we're spending our time on the right things. In order to do that, we actually have to say no more than we say yes. I want you to hear that again. We actually have to say no more than we say yes. Well, Isaiah, what are you talking about? Because how am I going to be productive if I say no to everything? Well, the key is to say no to the right things. You see, the trick of this is if you look at what is actually generating you revenue on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, that list is probably actually pretty small. You could probably shrink that list down to maybe 3 or 4 hours. If you're extremely productive and you have a burning desire, you're a driver, you could probably expand that list if you're already really good at revenue generating activities. But for most real estate professionals and most business leaders that are growing their real estate business, they struggle with spending their time on the right things. And so the key is, what I want you to do is I want you to list all of the things that are not generating you revenue, and I want you to learn to say no to them. Well, Isaiah, this is blowing my mind because I have to do other administrative things. Yes, I understand where you're coming from, but it can't be as a result of not doing your revenue generating activities. So what I did is, when I was going through this struggle, instead of saying yes to everything and putting it into my calendar and filling up my calendar, what I did is I set out on a strategic objective to say no to everything that was not in my ability to generate revenue or grow the business. And so what I did is I made a list of all of the things I'm going to start saying no to. And this is where my whole paradigm shift changed when it comes to time management. And that list included a lot of administrative things, included a lot of things that I was tinkering around with, different side projects that people could help me out with. And the list actually ended up being about 2 to 3 hours worth of productivity that I could delegate to somebody else. And as a result, my first hire was a virtual assistant, and that virtual assistant took on those things, and I trained them and I coached them. And what ended up happening too is I started adopting the power of saying no. I eliminated everything that was in my life for 18 months, or actually almost 2 years, that was not going to help directly grow the business and be an impact and drive the bottom line. So here's how I kind of filtered it. 3 things. I said, look, is what I'm doing going to help scale the company? Okay, number 1, is it going to increase top line revenue? Okay, number 2, is this particular project, okay, going to give the client a much better experience if I do it, okay? And then third, is this going to help us become more profitable in the process? And those are the three things that I filtered. Three things might be a little bit different for you depending on if you're a newer agent or whatever it may be. But here's the thing. If what you're doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis can't be attached to one of those three things, then most likely, okay, you're going to not have the growth that you want to have. And remember, growth is never a plus, 1 + 1 = 2, okay? Growth has a multiplier effect. So whatever you do with your time, it's going to multiply in the results that you get because of it, because it creates a chain reaction of events. This is a whole nother video I can do training on. That might have just blown your mind, but I will do a training on that someday, the power of the compound effect when you do the right things. So that's the key, is learning to say no. And then what I want you to do is discipline yourself to say, no, I can't take this meeting right now because I have to do this revenue generating activity. No, I can't do I can't respond to this email right now because of this activity that I have to do. And just thinking through all the things. And for some of you, if you want to go to the next level and you're super committed, you might start saying no to certain events that don't serve you anymore. You might change your schedule, when you wake up, when you go to bed. You might say no to the party, right? You might say no to the thing that's going to throw you off from hitting the goals. And I'm not saying you have to do that forever, and I'm not saying you have to do that at all, or whatever, that there has to be some extreme here. But there has to be some set ritual routines, and making sure that within that time that you are working, you're not filling it up with just tasks to do, thinking that you're being productive, but you're really not, and you're not really getting movement. I don't know about you, but I've been in a place in my life before I adopted this where I felt like I was being productive, but the results, my bank account didn't show the result that I was looking for. And if that happens to you, most likely it's because you're not using the secrets that Millionaire real estates use. And that's the anti-schedule. That's getting as many things out of their schedule as possible and only focusing on the things that generate revenue, and then delegating and finding great people, okay, to do the things that they should not be doing, okay? And so the exciting part is that within about 3 months, you'll be like, wow, oh my gosh, look how much I accomplished. Within 6 months, you start getting so much momentum that you're like, this is really exciting. And then once you hit that 8 to 12 month mark of doing this, you're going to get more done in 1 year than you probably would have gotten done in 3 years. And for me, that's what changed my life, folks. That's how this idea, this concept that I'm sharing with you, brought us from doing 151 transactions our first year to scaling up to over 1,000 transactions, having literally, like, between our inside sales agents and our outside sales agents, we had over 70 direct hired, and we had over 500 referral agents. And we were able to build this because of this one-time management secret. And so I hope you don't take it for granted, because it is really, really powerful. Last kind of tip I want to share with you, along with the anti-schedule, is also making sure that you have that you're minimizing the things that you allow in your calendar to allow you to do what I call time boxing. Okay, so time boxing is where what I do is some people take 25 minutes, some people take 45 minutes, depending on how your brain works. And what you do is you put a timer on, and you focus on that one activity for 25 to 45 minutes, and then you take a 5 to 15 minute break, depending on how or depending on how your brain works and what your schedule looks like. In this time boxing concept, where I could hyper focus on one thing for a certain period of time, I'd have my timer on, timer would go off, and I would do this at least 3 or 4 times a day. The amount that I'd get done was extremely productive. So for me, this is really important because I have an ADHD brain, and for a lot of high-powered, a lot of drivers, for people that are driven people in real estate, or you're a driven business owner, you're going to have this struggle of being all over the place. This is one way to control that. And so I'm excited about that. Now, there also are some really, really powerful tools that you can use to help you focus. So what I do at the beginning of my week, I actually make sure I set myself up to know exactly what leads I'm going to call and what I'm going to do. So I plan my week out in advance, and I put all the major priorities out with the goals of the week, and I plan it out, and I plan out how many hours go in to the week. So in other words, I have to build a funnel. That's going to take 3 hours. I have to make, I want to make 20 contacts a day through multiple channels of outreach. Okay, that's going to take 6 hours, et cetera, et cetera. So you take all the important things you know you want to get done during the week, and then you map that out. And then what you do is plug it into your calendar, and now you can see if it's realistic to accomplish what you want to actually accomplish. And that's actually why I love the app, the module that Ren 360 has called Conversion IQ, because it's important that you're also using the right tools to help you manage this process. And Conversion IQ is a really powerful tool because when you're going to do things like your prospecting, you don't have to log into one system to do your text messaging. You don't have to log into another system to do your email. You don't have to log into another system to make a phone call. You don't have to log in another system to do a video. You can literally do multi-channel prospecting from one system. And that's why I love Conversion IQ. And so if you are looking for a better way to be more productive, I'd highly recommend you sign up to Ren 360's free trial called Conversion IQ. It will change the game for you when it comes to prospecting, and they offer amazing workshops and amazing support. They don't just give you the service and then expect you to figure it out on your own. They walk you through a 30-day challenge. It's called the 100K and 30-day challenge, where you go through a 30-day game plan to be more productive with your CRM and with your marketing automation. It's really, really powerful. So with that, as a summary, number one, okay, the anti-schedule. Number two, say no. Number three, the things that you are scheduling, time box it, put the alarm on, discipline yourself to do it, and then move on. And the last but not least is making sure that you have the right tools that you're working with to help you be more productive. Isaiah Colton here. I hope you enjoyed this video. And again, if you have not yet, subscribe for more videos like this. I'd appreciate if you like it, leave comments and share along the way. And I will see you in my next video along the lines of productivity and growing your real estate business. I will talk to you soon.